Hey everyone and welcome to Storytime. My name is Jake and today we are going to be looking at the subreddit r/idontworkherelady, so sit back, relax and enjoy some Reddit stories. Entitled parents shouldn't bring small children on haunted hayrides and expect others to calm their kids down. This happened about a year or two ago. I used to live in a community that sometimes one could get signed up for events that a group of people would go on together. And during the Halloween season, several of us wanted to go on a hayride. As it was my last year before I moved out, I decided to go too. So, myself and a handful of people went to this hayride, though I am not close to any of them. Upon getting there, it is a pretty normal trip. We had a group leader who was in charge of tickets. We had someone in charge of snacks and such, and somehow I ended up being in charge of calming people down if they got too scared. There was this one girl whom lived next door to me and wanted to go, but was a huge chicken, so she was already clutching my arm scared. I would pat her head and say soothing things and pretty much explain what all the scary things were, or pretty much deny they were there for her. This calmed her down, but yeah, she was still clutching my arm. This continued on to the hayride. I was trying to calm her down as she was already spooked, and complimented her for trying so hard to learn about something new. Seriously, this girl had no clue about hayrides and wanted to know because people kept raving about them. She only stopped when we saw a young woman and a man get onto the hayride with children that were clearly too young for it. For crying out loud, she was breastfeeding the smallest one while we were waiting for the ride to start. The family sat next to me near the front of the hayride. This was a tactic seating, since less scariers stick around the front part. Yes, you get scared first, but if you have a good eye, you can spot the scares before they happen. So, I looked at the small children and said, "Hello, how old are you two? Are you excited? Do you watch horror?" I asked, trying to gauge their possible fear level, since what scared me more was if I was going to be with constant screamers. The girls smiled. "I am 5, said the smaller of the two first. "I am 8. Mummy said we are strong kids," said the bigger of the two. The mother and father were not paying attention to their kids at all, and were talking about the ride to each other. I sighed, knowing I was gonna not have a fun ride. I already had to calm down one person, I was now worried I would have to calm down more. My neighbor clung to my arm, whispering her fears in my ears as the hayride shook about going down the path. We came to the person whom told us about the ride and its rules. I felt small hands creeping onto my other arm and one of my legs. I sighed. This was my fate. Nothing scary yet, and now 3 people were clinging to me scared. Why? I don't know. I explained to them that the person was not gonna do anything to them. After the introduction, the hayride really started. Whoosh! Flames from the first scare part. A trio of screams as I became sandwiched between 3 people clinging to me as they screamed. I reassured them and sighed. The 8-year-old was clinging to my arm. "Excuse me, if you are going to cling to me, can I have my one arm free? You can grab my waist or my jacket or even my leg. I need to be able to signal that you are too scared to scare to the staff if you or the others are." I would tell her, but she hasn't let go even when I did tell her. I said to the kid. The girl grabbed the waistband of my jacket and curled up under my arm as her sister now climbed onto my lap, hiding her face in my chest. I waved to the parents. "Your children are scared. Want to do something about it?" I called over to them. I did this a few times during the calmer moments, but when there were scares, I was calming the 3 females clinging to me. 2 of which were kids that I didn't know, and my full-grown adult neighbor. The parents ignored me each time I tried to get their attention, so I gave up after a while and focused on the fact that the girls clinging to me were terrified. I did each of my tricks to calm down the trio. I spoke kindly and softly. I explained things and even told them where not to look. When scarers jumped onto the hayride, I would give them the no scare signal, which I had asked one of the ride operators about beforehand. They were very nice and understanding. I even acted scared with them so they didn't feel foolish. Got to say, it was exhausting and not fun. The hayride ended after an hour or so, not sure. It felt like forever to me. The people started to get off. That was when the parents noticed their kids at last. "Kids, you can let go of the worker. The hayride is done. Did you have fun with the nice Scaremaster lady?" said the father. The girls let me go and thanked me. "Excuse me, what? I don't work here," I said, but the father and mother were not listening. They were already walking off with their kids, whom were waving bye to me. I had no idea what they were thinking. I struggled to get off as my neighbor was still clinging on to me crying. Not sure how she was more scared than the kids and was still scared. An employee asked me how the ride was when I got off. Apparently I work here, so it sucked. I didn't get to enjoy it at all thanks to... I started. "Glad you had a great time," said the employee before they went to ask another person what they thought. My neighbor and I rejoined the group from before. "Didn't know you were meeting friends. You should have told us," said the leader of the group. "I wasn't. They thought I worked here. Can we go home now?" I asked, more tired than I should have been. When I got home, I found marks on my arms, legs, and torso from the trio clinging onto me too hard. In the end, no one really listened to me, and I didn't get to enjoy anything. So yeah, next time I am going with a friend only. Who brings kids to like a haunted house or a scare ride thing? That's like the stupidest thing you can do. I swear they're designed at like 16 and above, most of them, but that's just a stupid idea. Karen stuck in a blizzard. I'm not sure this falls into this category, but here we go. This happened a few years ago when I was living in Denver, working as a security guard. There was this massive blizzard that just shut the whole town down for a couple days. There was 3-ish feet of snow on the ground, and I drove a Toyota Yaris, so there was no way I was going to make it into work. I called up my security company, and they said they would send out one of their rovers that was driving a pickup truck with chains to pick me up and take me to work. I was pretty bummed that I wasn't going to get a snow day, but I needed the money, so I agreed. We decided the driver would meet me at a busy intersection, so he wouldn't have to navigate the side streets since most of them weren't yet plowed. I bundled up and headed out. It took me 15 to 20 minutes to get there, and then I waited on the corner. It was a ghost town, and there were no cars on the road as even the main street had not been plowed. There was a little car in the street that somebody obviously abandoned after getting stuck. About 20 minutes into my wait, this little Suzuki Samurai came plowing down the street and had to stop at the little abandoned car. Once stopped, it was also stuck. I could see Karen getting frustrated and the wheels kept on spinning. She got out of the car and said, "Why would you think your awful little car could make it through this snow?" She obviously thought the car was mine. I told her the car wasn't mine, but she continued to berate me, calling me an idiot. She took a shovel out of the back of her Suzuki and shoveled a space in front of the tires. She got back in the car and began to rock the car back and forth. She had a little success, but with her at the wheel, she needed help. After 5 to 10 minutes of this, she asked me to help her. After she treated me so badly, I just started laughing at her. She yelled, "Screw you!" right as my ride pulled up. He asked me if she needed a ride, and I said she's fine, let's go, and we left Karen there. To this day, I've never seen a scowl like that as we drove past her. Oh, I just hope that she didn't manage to get it out and she had to walk home or something. Sorry, no English, I guess. Down the road from me is a small row of shops, including a Chinese takeaway and a fish and chip shop. For context, I am British-born Chinese, born and raised in the UK by Chinese parents. However, I do not work at this takeaway, nor am I affiliated with it in any way. I, being a lazy teenager left alone at home, decided to go buy some food from the fish and chip shop, and was waiting for my order when an old man comes in. He picks up his order and turns and sees me. "Oh, I've just been to your shop. I love your noodles." Me, a baffled and confused teenager, wondering what shop this old man is chatting about. "Do you understand English?" Me, too quietly. Yeah, I do. "I just been to your shop. Good chow mein, very yummy." He then leaves with his food, leaving me still baffled and the cashier looking sympathetic. I was both too baffled and polite to come up with any funny or sassy retorts, unfortunately. Quite frankly, I'm still confused why he thought a random underage Chinese girl in a fish and chip shop worked at the takeaway down the street. Enjoy your noodles anyway, confused old man. That guy's just the stereotypical casual old racist guy in the UK, which is like every other old person in the UK. He probably thinks he's being nice by saying that, but yeah. Random lady mistakes me for a deli worker. I asked her an important question. This literally just happened and I'm still confused. I'm one of those people that like to do their pre-shopping to budget things out the day before I get paid. I'm also one of those people that like to dress like I'm a rejected Hot Topic employee that got the job at a local comic store instead. I in no way look like I work at a grocery store when I'm dressed in what I consider casual clothes. For example, today I'm wearing a grey tank top that says, "Let's get red and white wasted" on it. I'm Canadian and got it for a Canada Day because beer. Blue cut jeans, steel-toed shoes, and a Star Wars Empire beanie. There is also my massive Attack on Titan man purse and very visible tattoos. So I was at Stupid Store today making a list of what I would need for the week. I had my headphones in listening to some J-pop. And metal while I walk around with a calculator and notebook in hand. Budgeting is important, people. I wasn't expecting anyone to bother me today, so I was just bobbing along doing my thing, looking at meats in the deli. I guess the deli wasn't busy, so there wasn't a visible worker anywhere. I didn't mind, I didn't need anyone to help at the very moment, and they have a call button if they were needed. I'm standing there writing down the price per gram of some black pepper garlic sausage, when I have a headphone ripped out of my ear violently, and I'm suddenly being screamed at. I'm now ticked and wheel around to see a mini soccer mum with way too much perfume on berating me. The cast: me, evil wench, and deli manager. "How dare you ignore me, you little brat! I have been trying to get your attention for 15 minutes. I demand—" Me cutting her off, ticked. First off, don't ever touch my headphones. It's beyond rude. Second, what in the bloody heck do you want? So bad that you felt it was okay to walk up and assault a stranger in a grocery store. The evil wench blinking in confusion before doubling down on her stupidity. "What I want is some dang service, and you are the only one here. Go get me some smoked ham now before I call for a manager and get your butt fired." What makes you think you can actually get anyone fired? What makes you think that you are so important that just on your say so you can ruin someone's life and take away their paycheck? And what in the heck makes you think I work here? Small background: if you look at some of my post history, you will see I work in retail at liquor stores. And on behalf of all retail workers, what Evil Wench said next is just wrong. No, the customer is not always right. They are more often than not wrong. Because the customer is always right, that's why. Now do your job. No, they are not. They are almost always wrong because they have no idea what they are talking about, past their own wants. Now, I'm going to say this slow because you are obviously half blind and more than a little stupid. I do not work here. Again, look at me. All of this attracted a wild deli manager. His appearance wasn't effective though, as the evil wench was still attempting to get me to go behind the counter to use slicers I have no idea how to use. He piped up while the tiny terror was mid-rant. What seems to be the issue here? Finally, someone important. I demand this little brat be fired and that you give me my ham for free of charge because of his incompetence. I just stood there looking annoyed, waiting for what I figured was about to happen, tapping my toe and looking at the deli manager. Ma'am, he doesn't work here. He's shopping just like you. I already told her that, but her skull is too thick for it to get through. Yeah, I sound rude, but this wench interrupted my music, and it was one of my favourite songs. Love me some Clary S. Evil wench finally looks at me and really takes in my appearance. You can see that the wheel is turning, but I guess the hamster is dead because she again demands me to be fired. This time with less conviction, as she's still trying to wrap her brain around how a random nerd is not actually a deli worker and might actually just be another customer. Again, he isn't an employee. I can't fire him. And what's more, I can't just fire someone because one customer said so. That's not how jobs work. Evil wench, sounding much less sure of herself. But the customer is always right. Well then, you are a paradox, because you are very much wrong here. I don't work here, I'm shopping. And you're lucky I don't call the RCMP and press assault charges against you. Next time, don't go up to a stranger, worker or not, and rip out their headphones. And if you want to help, do everyone a favor before flying off the deep end and actually look around before accosting some random person in selfish indignation. At that, I just walked out and went home. No idea what happened, and honestly I don't care. I'm going to go mod Skyrim now and have a beer. Thanks for reading. Some things just aren't adding up here. Right at the start they said, I'm Canadian, and that wasn't a very Canadian thing to do because they didn't apologize at the end. Hey everyone, I hope you all had a really good day and that you enjoyed that video. If you want to check out some other videos, then click on screen right now, or check out the playlist down below. If you enjoyed that video, then please do leave a like. And if you want to submit your own stories, then you can do so by joining the Discord in the top link in the description. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon.